President Biden is going to address the nation, and according to the White House, it will put Americans' minds at ease over what happened in Afghanistan. Yes, I'm absolutely certain he's up to the challenge of inspiring and calming the American people.
I made a decision to end this war. I take responsibility for the decision. Now, some say we should have started mass evacuation sooner. And couldn't this have been done in a more orderly manner? I respectfully disagree. The fact is, everything had changed. My predecessor had made a deal with the Taliban. When I came into office, we faced a deadline, May 1. The Taliban onslaught was coming.
Is a Taliban takeover of Afghanistan now inevitable?
No, it is not. Because you have the Afghan troops have 300,000.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. And may God have mercy on your soul.
The Taliban onslaught was coming. It is not inevitable.
President Joe Biden is going to address the nation to alleviate fears, concerns, misconceptions, misinformation, and fake news about what's been happening in Afghanistan, and to do a payoff to the Chinese. Oh, wait, did I just say that? How many years did we put up with nonsense about so-called Trump-Russia collusion, that he was not going to be able to freely govern as president because he had been compromised by the Ruskies? After all, they helped get him elected. Gee, funny, nobody lost their YouTube or social media accounts over the fact that Hillary thought that the election was stolen from her and that Russians had actually helped elect Donald Trump. Nobody who posted or wrote articles about that or said anything about those things in their vlogs or on their YouTube channels ever got censored or shut down. But if you say anything about 2020 that doesn't line up with what they want said, you're gone. That said, we were told relentlessly, in particular by outlets like PMSNBC and Rachel Madcow, who just landed her multi-million dollar big contract over there at MSNBC, because like Bernie Sanders, she's here to show us that you can be socialist and be filthy rich and making lots of money. It's okay to be socialist and a capitalist at the same time. It's amazing. Yeah. We were told that President Trump, decisions he made would be directly tied to the Kremlin, that everything from the pipeline to even what happened in Ukraine, it was all about benefiting Vladimir Putin. Even though it was Donald Trump who inflicted some of the harshest sanctions on Russia, in particular following what they were trying to do in Syria. Amazing. Here we have Joe Biden, who used his son as the mule to funnel payments from the Chinese government to have influence over then Vice President Joe Biden. And now that Obama Joe is in the Oval Office, sitting there as the President of the United States, we do this radical withdrawal out of Afghanistan. How do the Chinese stand to benefit from this? Anybody ask that question? Because we didn't just leave. I mean, we literally just turned the lights off and walked out. We're now seeing reports and the video images and photographs of the multi-millions and hundreds of millions of dollars in equipment we left behind. Humvees, helicopters, fighter jets, weapons, weapons. I don't want to hear any more about, from the Biden administration in the next 3 years about anything about gun control in America, because we left enough unchecked, undocumented, unregistered firearms over in Afghanistan to give every person on the planet a firearm. Who's got them now? As the Taliban walks through our storage units and supply depots over there, helping themselves to night vision, body armor, machine guns, ammunition, etc., 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 etc. Looks like China Joe's used car lot over there. We even have images now that we had service animals that were used over there with our military. We left them. We left them in cages. Left them. No food, no water, just left them. Now, you know how I feel about our nation-building fiasco in the Middle East. This is George W. Bush's debacle. This is the result of the war profiteer, Dick Cheney. I understand that. But you know, Barack Obama, he really didn't do anything to end this endless war. In fact, he became a real fan of his favorite video game, Who We Gonna Drone Strike Today? President Trump wanted us out of there. He had worked out a withdrawal plan. The Biden administration violated that plan, and once they violated it, it gave the Taliban excuse to do what they're doing. It's amazing, even reporters at MSNBC are actually doing some random acts of journalism saying, I was just there 2 weeks ago and Afghanistan was a republic. Now it is completely controlled by the Taliban and it is an Islamic state. I know young people who serve in the military that are so disillusioned right now. Some are on the cusp of being in positions of leadership where they've said, I don't want this responsibility of ordering 18 and 19-year-olds when I don't really fully understand what it is that we're ordering them to do and why. I have talked with military servicemen who've said we have been preached about duty, honor, responsibility. Where was the duty, the honor, and the responsibility to get Americans out of there before the military fled under the cover of darkness? In other words, yes, we needed to end this 20-year endless war. We never should have been there for 20 years to begin with. But in so being there were people who risked their lives. We owed them something. There were American citizens there. We owed them a way out, a safe way to get to the airport, to find them, to retract them, and get them out of there before we left. We left and basically said to the people left behind, figure it out. Oh, wait. According to one woke general out of the Pentagon, the Taliban has been very helpful in making this a smooth transition as they go door to door right now, executing people. Those reports are now beginning to filter out. On the one hand, nobody has resigned that is responsible for this military fiasco. The one Marine, I believe he was a lieutenant colonel, came forward and talked about how awful this was. He was fired. But General Miley and the rest of the brass that dreamed this up, all of this woke crapola going on in our military right now, they'll all have their jobs. They'll all get promoted. They will all make bank when it comes to their retirement, and the boards of the armament industries that they will oversee and lobby Congress on behalf of. What a gig. And China Joe, hey, he owes the Chinese. They bought an awful lot of influence on the expertise of Hunter Biden being an expert in the field of whatever it was. They were paying him $30 million a year. Now it's payback time. Well, what's the payback? How come a country like China, which is one of the biggest users of fossil fuel on the planet, where do you think all that oil is going to go now? Who do you think is going to reap the resource benefit that is Afghanistan? Can you say the communist Chinese? And at what point, I talked about this in a special monologue on Saturday, at what point do we see the coup? Because the way I see it, the military is divided in three right now. There's three distinct divisions. On the one hand, you have the true American patriot military. They love the country. They see their duty very clearly, very black and white, very right and wrong, to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States from all enemies, foreign and domestic. They serve at the pleasure of the President of the United States, and they are there to ensure peace and tranquility. That is their job. They are gung-ho about it, and they're pro-America, pro-patriot, and whether or not they like the current commander-in-chief is irrelevant. They will follow their duty, and they will honor and obey the commands given to them by the current occupant of the White House. Then you have another section of the military that is very much part of the industrial military complex. They are part of the deep state, the swamp, the establishment. They see themselves as even more powerful than the president himself. This is why they want us in endless war. One, it makes money. Second, you can't get promotions if you're not at war somewhere doing something that somebody says, hey, you get another star. These guys are pragmatists and politicians to the end, and they're waiting for the even bigger payoff when they retire from the military and they become advisors to the armament manufacturers that want the big government military contracts. And after all, it's not enough to develop all this new hardware. You got to have some place to go play with it, so we use it up so that the government needs to buy more. Or leave it behind for the Taliban. And then the third fraction of the military is now all of this new hogwash, woke crapola. Generals that are talking more about critical race theory and equality and equity among the sexes and even the transgenders within the U.S. military. Because after all, we know that's what the Taliban's interested in too, making sure that they have just a wonderful cross-representation of the culture within their military and within their society. So my question is, when is there the coup? Because I'm telling you, we know how the Patriot wing of the military feels about what this president has just done. And under normal circumstances, that wing of the military would never entertain an idea of rising up against a sitting president. But that middle section, those politicians masquerading as generals and admirals, those filthy warmongers who want us at war somewhere because that's how they make money, that's how they sustain their need, how they can procreate the big budgets they get from Congress, as well as the big payoff they're going to get at the end when they sell their expertise to the highest bidder. How dare the president do something that in such a way has so backfired and blown up in their faces that even now Biden's own Pentagon officials are coming out every day after White House press briefings and every day after Joe Biden says something and contradicting him in public. My prediction is, I said this on Saturday, I'm going to repeat it here. My prediction, and again, I don't have any inside intel on this. I'm just making an observation. Is this what they're going to use to unseat Joe Biden? I remember the ultimate plan was they had this pandemic that they turned into a wonderful opportunity to shut down the economy, force an endless list of mandates on us, and it's not done. They now realize that they can get the vast majority of the American people to comply without an argument or a fight if they just make it about your health. Climate change is now a health issue. Oh, you didn't know the CDC is taking over climate change? Yeah. Oh, gun control, that's now a health issue. Mental health issue. See, when the CDC, they can step in and they can do all kinds of things. We've seen them strip landlords of their rights, and now there's no longer private property. The government, in the name of a pandemic and safety, can step in and take your property. Goodbye capitalism, because after all, we have health concerns. We had health concerns at election time, didn't we? That's why you could write who you wanted to be president on the back of a napkin and just mail it in or slide it under a door. It was okay. Can't have people coming out to vote in person. After all, this isn't a BLM rally we're having here. This is voting. Why, somebody could die going to the polls to vote. But burning down a Wendy's because you're mad about something politically, that's a mostly peaceful protest. And it's okay. You go to Sturgis on a motorcycle, you're a super spreader. You go to Lollapalooza with Mayor Lightweight, the lesbian mayor of Chicago, and you're doing something awesome for the community. These people are so full of it. I heard Dan Bongino say recently, it's not the tale of a double standard, it's the standard. When liberals are in charge, here's the standard. Do what they say and shut up. They don't follow any of these mandates. Isn't it interesting that people who work for the WHO and the CDC have to be careful. Don't want to get censured here, do we? So, we have all of this brewing and blowing and brouhaha, and so it was perfect that they could get this empty suit puppet in the White House. I mean, under a normal election cycle, would Joe Biden have even stood a remote chance? I mean, he got flattened and destroyed in the regular primaries. He stayed in his basement. He gave a couple of parking lot rallies to people in cars going, yeah, Joe Biden, You know, a dozen firefighters supported him because he brought him pizza one day, and there was that little rally in a fire department parking lot. But the Trump protesters across the street drowned out the so-called support for Joe Biden. It was hilarious. They wanted an empty suit in there. They were prepared. They knew he was in mental decline. They knew he was not mentally up to it. That was why Nancy Botox Pelosi, in the month of October 2020, had outlined the procedure to 25th Amendment remove a president. Had nothing to do with Donald Trump, had everything to do with giving them cover to get rid of Joe Biden. They knew it. They picked Camilla thinks she's a Hottie Harris, because they wanted another empty suit, and they wanted to be on the right side with the right optic as far as a black woman. This will be awesome. But you know, I mean this. I really do believe in a sovereign God. And he is all-knowing and all-powerful. None of this has taken him by surprise. And there are certain things that he has allowed the stupidity to happen. And I know it's driving some of us people of faith out of our minds as we watch some of this. But as you keep watching, you see that he is literally revealing what absolute maniac lunatics these people are, and how some of the very things that they're trying to do is blowing up and backfiring on them. There's an obscure passage of scripture in the Old Testament that says, the curse causeless will not come. As a darting swallow, it will come back on you. What they're talking about there are really wicked, rotten people, and they will try to throw things at you that boomerang and come back on them, and we are watching that happen right now. The powers that be, the deep state, the oligarch, those that are really in charge, really thought that they had the answer. This empty suit, we got him. If he gets a little off, we can push him aside and bring in the female VP. And they didn't count on, number one, that people hate her more than they ever hated Hillary. Bum, ba-dum, bum. Oh, the irony of it all. I mean, she is absolutely hated. And she can't seem to answer a question without laughing, which only makes people hate her more. So what do they do? What do they do? This is where the military steps in. Is Biden going to be accused of treason? Is there going to be a soft coup? Are they going to say that what he did by leaving Americans behind really rises to the level of he is mentally not fit for this job? This is everything that we're seeing unfold right now. But hey, it's okay. He's going on TV. And I'm sure we'll all be awe-inspired when he does that. Hey, that's it for this rant. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you're a subscriber to the channel. Smack the bell, click the word all to get notification of my next rant.